And g'day guys, and welcome back to the channel again, which is not long since the last video. Now, this thing, the turntable, as you just saw, we're working on it. Let's have a look at how I service the motor, how we put this thing together and test it and see if it works. It might work. Anyway, you'll see in the video. And then we'll put this unit, which I will now, but it'll be on the end of the video, back into the unit and test it out. This will be very exciting, especially for the owner, Brian. I think you'll be reasonably impressed, although this thing's not back in yet. Okay, we'll check it out. Rightio guys, time for the motor. Let's have a look. Two nuts here, and I think they come through those two bolts. The front, well, the pulley is actually on with a little set screw there. Now it's flat with the shaft. Let's see if that comes off, which will mean I can take the front off the shaft and service the bearing, or have a look at the bearing. There we go, nice and easy. And there we go. That certainly needs a clean up. Okay, motor is running very nicely, as you can see, but we're still doing a service on it. No washers under this fella, only the nuts. And I'm not just telling you guys this about washers and things like that. I've got to put the thing together, and sometimes if I'm not sure there should be a washer there or what was there when I pulled it apart, well, I can look back on my videos. Okay, now we can unscrew these. Now they're fairly tight. I don't know whether they're screwed in somewhere or what's going on, but anyway. Okay, now a little bit stiff to come off. Certainly needs cleaning and lubricating. Yes, my word, he does. Now there's our little ball in there, a little sleeve bearing. And in under here, there's a little felt pad. Okay, so that's what we oil, and the oil seeps through onto the shaft. We'll take this off and just see how dirty, how bad it is, and clean this part up. Okay, and lift the rotor out. There we go. And a little bit of rust, not too bad. And of course the shaft needs a good clean, especially this one. Lots of stickiness there. So yeah. And we're left with the back bearing, which is in there. Now to get the back bearing off, I don't know whether well, hang on. No, hang on. This may be separate. It may be separate. Let's see. No, it doesn't. I thought the back bearing actually lifted up separately. It doesn't. Must be something else holding it in. But we can get at everything in there. Otherwise, to do this job, we're going to have to take the 4 screws out of the back. I suppose we can. But then our wires, 2 wires in here, 2 wires in here. Now, I'm assuming, well, there's 2 windings here. This is probably 120 volts each, maybe, and it's wired for 240, and the centre tap, maybe, I'm not sure, is these fellas that you make and break to turn the thing on and off. But I'm not certain of that. Okay, let's take this off. Now, I'm going to put a little mark on this, just with a texter, as far as what is the front, a little mark here, and what goes where. So this one goes, yeah, pretty well like that. And yeah, well, I'll mark this and I'll come back, and I think we'll take the back off. We'll have a look at how it's wired, and well, not many guys go into a full detail of a motor. What's in it? Yeah, let's have a bit of a look, little bit further look. It'll only be an extra half hour on my video. I thought you guys, I thought I'd take it a little step further and, well, have a look at how this is wired, what it is. As I said, I'm not familiar with these. It's a very basic standard motor. Most of you probably know this, but some of you may not. That's what this video is aimed at. Okay. Here we go. We're getting him stripped down now. Make him nice and easy to clean anyway. Okay, a little bracket there, a little tag to hold. Now, this, I may have to heat this a little bit to get this conduit, to get it off there. I don't know whether he doesn't really want to come. Let's open this and see. Can I get it? No, guys, we're going to have to get this off. Just a moment, I'll get my heat gun. That's getting nice and soft. Okay. Let's see. There he comes. He still doesn't really want to come off. If I try and bunch him up and get him a bit bigger, push him from this end. Just got to get him over those 2 pieces of braided conduit there, then he'll be okay. And there he goes. Okay. Take him off. Now, okay, now as we can see, there is 2 separate windings here. Okay, so these would probably be 120 volts each, I would say. We'll also measure the resistance of these in case any of you guys ever have a burnt out motor and you need to restore it or rewind it. It may help you. Okay, there we go. Right. Now, we can get the back of the motor off. Now, the back and the bottom, this is the top. So I will also put a mark on the top here. Just make sure he all goes back together the same way. Okay, here we go. Thread these out. This also makes it very easy to clean all this up and do our bearings. Okay, yeah, that needs doing. Okay, we're left with the shell of the motor. As you can see, two separate windings, and our on-off switch is actually the two reds, these two fellas, so obviously breaking the centre, well, the centre tap more or less, because this is 240. Our active and neutral come in on the black wires to the end of each coil, and the other ends of the coil, well, they're connected together normally. That would run all the time, so that's our switching. Okay, let's before we go any further with this one, let's put our multimeter on and see what they measure, because not a lot of guys on the net actually go into the tin tacks of, you know, motors, and if you ever get one of these, it makes it a bit hard if you've got to rewind it and you don't know where to start. Okay, where can I get somewhere that they're about the best I can get at the moment? Okay, let's measure our resistance on this one, and that wire there. Okay, and there he is, 335 ohms, 335.5. Okay, 335.5. Let's measure the other one, which should be very close. And here he is. And it's, if I can get my meter right, okay, 323.5. So more or less 323 and 335, fairly close. 322.6 or 0.5, 322.5. So there you go. There's if you're rewinding, that'd be the goal. All you'd have to do is measure your, if you're rewinding one, measure the wire size, and of course do the calculations on resistance, and you should be able to rewind one of these motors. Be a little bit tricky getting it apart, but yeah, you could if it ever come to that. Anyway, we're not worried about that. We're worried about, let's clean these fellas up. And this fella, well, there's a lot of dirt in there too. Yeah, I wasn't going to pull this apart, but as you can see, always pays. I'll go and do that. I'll be back. Now, just before I'm cleaning, I shall take our little bearings out and I'll show you what's in there. Let's, sorry guys, you didn't see that. Anyway, only took 2 screws out. And there's our little felt pad, and this is our bearing here. As you can see, the bearing just sits in the felt pad. Now I'll be cleaning the bearing. Felt pad, well, I don't know. I might give him a little bit of a wash in isopropyl. I don't want to use any cleaning fluid on that because I sort of don't want any cleaning fluid left in it when we re-oil it. Okay, so yeah. Okay, well, there's the rest of him. Now, same thing happens here. I'm going to do these separate so that I put the right bearing back in the right housing. And now I'll be back when I've done that. Right, all cleaned up. Now, we've got a flat spot on this and a pointy end. The flat spot, or the flat end, as you can see it there, goes down. Okay, that goes to the outside. Now, here's our little felt washer. We just pop him in, like so. Okay, now we get some oil. And we will be oiling the shaft separately to this as well. But let's put some oil on our little felt washer, like that. Okay, that's fairly saturated. Don't fill it or anything. Just make sure it's just saturated enough that that will sink in over time. Put our holding cover, our bearing holding cover back on. Now we'll be using my little split screwdriver. If you haven't got one of these, guys, grab one for the vintage radios and vintage, well, stuff that's, of course, most of it is just a split screw, just a standard slot. Makes it so much easier when you're putting it together. The Phillips screws are much easier, but yeah. And we gently go in there. Now, I'll get a little bit bigger screwdriver. Just enough to tighten him up. Okay, that's our front bearing done. He will reseat himself because it's a ball, so it moves around, and that won't be a problem. Now, our other piece, as you can see, well, looks different. Yes, this centre piece, when I started cleaning it, actually fell out, but yet it wouldn't come out when I was doing it. But it's probably a good thing because we got to see more of what was inside. Now, there's a very fine mark just there that I put there. That means the top of how this goes together. Now, that's the top, obviously, because of the writing. And he just sits back in there. It actually just fell out, but yet it didn't want to come out when I was looking at it. No worries. Now, same procedure here, as you can see, and the other side is a flat. Flat goes to the outside. We put our little felt washer on there. Put some oil on him. Just run around with a little bit of oil, just so he's saturated. That'll all, that little brass bearing is porous. The oil seeps into it and lubricates the shaft. But of course, when we're putting it together, yes, I will be, as I said, putting a little bit on the shaft. This little fella can go either way around. And you're putting these in, shouldn't be too hard to turn. Okay, now I'm turning it very, very easily there, which means it's okay. If it's hard to turn, you've cross-threaded it. Just back it off a little bit until you feel another click, like there, and try that one. No, that's tight. Again, there, and there he goes, easy. That way you don't cross-thread any screws. You don't want to do that in this sort of material. well, probably not any sort of material. Plastic is worse. Now, that's tight, and he's tight. Okay, now we've got those two, that's our end. Now, our rotor, we've cleaned him up, and he cleaned up quite well. All is good. Now, on these, there's a little ferrule, okay, that goes down in there, obviously for spacing. Now, don't forget or don't lose that little ferrule. All right. Now we're going to put a little bit of oil just on the shaft where the ferrule is. Just a smear of oil, and yeah, that's good. Okay, now we're up to putting this thing together. Now obviously this is the back because our wires come out. So let's have a bit of a look here. Now this wire runs along here, up here. Now I'd like that to be just to hold the wire a little bit better in there than what it is. So I'm going to put a dab of probably hot glue just in there, just a little bit. I'll cut a little piece, get the soldering iron, and just melt the glue, just so it holds this wire, and well, the same on this side. Okay, this one here has to come up, and I just wanted to just hold it in place. It just makes it a bit neater. Okay, and well, we'll do a little bit more cleaning on this. We'll come back and then we'll put him together. Right, ready to put the back on. So first of all, we'll put our conduit back on here. Now we need the longer one on that side, the shorter one on this side. This is the back, we're going forward. Guys, I might pause this video while I'm doing this. You don't want to see me doing this. It's a matter of pulling these wires in. Okay, I'll pause it. I'll come back when they're in. Okay, we've got him in. Now, there's a little tab goes here on this bolt to hold this down, as well as this little piece of conduit, and that's sort of what he looks like. It's a material type, yeah, could be a fiberglass material. I don't think so. I think it's just a woven material. And let's put our screws in. Now this one has come out with the star washer under the head. Normally I would put the star under the nut. But anyway, that's how it come out. That's how it's going together. Okay, not going to do them up tight yet. We still have this one to go. Now it's a matter of these wires, and we've got to make I think this will be reasonably straightforward. This one, a bit easier than trying to get it off. Back all our wires in there. Okay, we'll put our little clip on here to hold it all down. Now guys, our little clip goes over our wires there, holds all this in place. Now we can tighten him up. Okay. There we go. Right. Now we can put in our rotor. It goes in. Now, first of all, I'm going to put a little bit of oil on the shaft to make sure he's oiled once he goes into the bearing initially. Okay. There he is. Okay, now a little bit of oil on the spindle of this fella for this bearing. It goes in that way. Okay, now our 2 screws, these go in from this side and screw into the back plate, and then we secure them with a nut by the look of it. Okay, they do indeed. Okay, so the actual back bearing housing is threaded. And I do remember having to unscrew these when we were taking them out. There we go. Now, big test. Does it turn? Yep. Now, it's a matter of tapping the shaft just lightly, center the bearings, our little nuts on the back plate there to keep everything nice and firm. Right. And we've just got a little bit of an alignment issue. That's got to be, we've got to get it exact in position at the front. And that looks like him. And if you see that, that's running pretty nicely. Doesn't get much better than that. Okay, that's it, guys. We'll put our pulley on, and I'm going to clean the pulley once he's on here and we put power on our motor. Now, where's my little screwdriver? Okay, we'll just tighten him up there. And look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, that's how they should run. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, guys, is put some power on here. We're going to short these two together, and because that's our switch, so that it's on. I think there's enough there just to twist these together. I think. And let me get a death cord, and I shouldn't call them that, should I? And make sure, of course, we'll always use a dim bulb after you've done something like this, just in case something's gone wrong with it. Okay, now guys, if you're not confident dealing with things like this with 240 volts, do not do it. get someone else qualified or that knows what they're doing. Okay, so us old techos, we've been doing it for a while. You never take anything for granted. Okay, don't be too blasé about this. So I put it like this. I'm not going to touch any of this. Now, a couple of you guys have mentioned, why don't I tape it to the bench while I'm doing it? Well, I don't know. I've never done that, and I've survived for well, what is it, 71 years. So I think I'm okay. Yes, I appreciate the certainly the WHS part of it, but well, yeah. Us techos, you know what we're like. Okay, dim is on dim, and we'll plug this in. We're on 0 volts on the variac. We put it on. Okay, so that's on. We turn the variac up, and this little fella should start rotating. Yep, there he goes. We'll go up, keep going up, and as you can see, the dim bulb is just lighting up a little bit. We'll go to the second one, and we're at 240 there, 235, and it's running nicely. Very nicely. Okay, now we can stop him, and that's going nice. Now he is making a slight ticking noise there, which will be adjustment of the actual pressure, the tightness of the screws. Just about gone, and we'll see with this one. Oh gee, if I can get it in there. There we go. And if I tighten this up the back, perfect. No noise. And running nice. It's not hot, nothing's hot, it's not warm. And of course, if that's floating on our rubbers, there is 0 noise. Right, I'll clean the pulley up, and that's our motor finished. We'll turn him off. Yeah, what's this, guys? How's this? It's running down now. I can unplug him. And there he is, running down. As you can see, that's how your bearings should be. Yeah, that's very nice. Okay, I'll clean the pulley up, and we better start assembling this whole thing back onto the actual table, and get a record on it. I think everything's working. We've got our arm done. We've got, yeah, everything done. We've got our idler redone. Yeah, I think we're ready to put him back together. Righto, guys. Well, we're working backwards here now via the photos. There's our idler pole, our little fella that goes there, and well, that idler, actually, I better show you, because if you get one of these, which is on the cards, there's quite a few of these around, I think. Okay, we've got a felt pad, okay, underneath that one, and it's the same with our idler peg. Okay, there's a washer goes on there with a spacer, and that washer has a felt pad. He sits on top of course. That's where our idler is going to sit. Then goes this fella. Then star washer. And then a nut. Okay, so I'll just screw him up and you can have a look at what it is. Right. Now we'll just nip him up a little bit. It doesn't have to be tight at the moment, this one. Right. And the felt just grabs on our base plate. Okay, so this will be our idler. Okay, the next thing is to put in a little arm that goes through here and connects to this fella. Okay, which is that one. Now, which way does he go? Does he go this way? Yes, he does. Okay, so he's... why has he got a spring there if he's got a circlip there? No, it's not a circlip. It is a very strong spring. Okay, and this spring here goes through the end of him. So we'll put him in, we'll come back and we'll do the next stage. Righto guys, well, this little arm was next after this fella. Now, this fella's got to have a little horseshoe clip, I would say you'd probably call it, like that. And I'm just going to squeeze him together a little bit. There we go. Okay, that holds that arm on there. And this piece here, this is our little arm that goes in and pushes on the switch up here. Now, I've cleaned the brass ring here for the switch, and there's a little screw goes in here, a fibre washer underneath it, and a fibre washer towards the plate of the turntable under this arm. So 2 fibre washers there, one on top, one on underneath the arm, and comes to a small nut on the top. Okay, so that sort of works like that. Okay, and there he is on top, and that's obviously our switch and how it works. We can probably put the switch on now, although no, I'll probably keep going here. We've just got to work this out one piece by one piece. I'm totally unfamiliar with these, so we'll just keep going one by one, and as you can see, I've got pictures. So yeah, we've got pictures of things. I'll include these pictures for you, as you can see there, all in order of how things go back together, and there's more or less the whole lot. So I'll include the pictures on the video. This is the one we're doing. So the next up, I guess, is this fella. Let me have a look at this and work this out. Righto guys, now next is this arm. Now this one goes on, as I showed you, fibre washer there on top of this fella. And this is our, well, on-off arm assembly. We then put a red fibre washer on top. Then our arm, which is actually goes over to our platter, and he's the arm that turns off the machine. Okay, so there we've got a metal washer. Next we have a small spring, then a little brass washer, and finally our nut goes on there. Okay, and yeah, we can see how this sort of works. Okay, that's that bit. Let's tighten this fella up. Now these don't have to be super tight. I should be using a socket here. Right. I will be putting a dash of nail polish on any little screws or nuts rather after I've finished. Okay, so yeah, that seems to push that arm. That appears to be be right. So next thing, right, next up seems to be our spindle and the cup assembly, and it goes on here just like so. Okay, so our little disconnection arm or our stop arm is in there. I don't know what all the bits and pieces are called on these things. Now, once again, small screwdriver, just he should ease into the thread easily. Not there. And not there. There it is. Okay. Righto guys, that's got our spindle in. Just tighten him up a little bit. And these screws in the top here are self-tappers. Strangely enough. Okay. Now, it's probably time. What comes next? Probably time to put our switch assembly on here. Hopefully I've left enough room there for the little nuts. Yes, I think so. Okay, let's put the switch on. And, oh well, he should be fairly straightforward. Now, before we put him on, what I'm going to do now is certainly clean those contacts. They don't look real good. We can solder onto there, no problems at all, but they certainly need cleaning. Now, probably take these out to clean them. There you go. They come out easily, and as you can see, that needs a bit of a rub up, a bit of a clean. I'll do that and we'll come back. Now that I've cleaned them up, that's how they're supposed to look. Okay, now we've got the switch sitting back in here. Two little round nuts, and they're there. When this goes up, this arm here hits on those two little round fellas. Oh, sorry. Those two little round feathers there, and stops it from going any further onto the switch. Now, I'll pull him back. As you can see, the switch, I've got one contact there. We'll put our other contact on. And he just sits in there. And then when he pushes up, if I can get it underneath, there it is. Okay. Right. That looks right. Now, to stop these falling out, temporarily until I get this wired up, because this has the 2 wires coming from the motor. I'm just going to sit the top on him just to keep him all in one piece. Right, now what's the next thing, guys? Possibly the arm assembly, or the arm pivot assembly. Now this has had oil. It's been oiled for quite a few days. There's a fair bit of rubbish around here. Going to clean that, and I'll be putting that fella on right there. Okay, so no big deal there. We'll come back when that's done. This is a little actuator arm that actually, well, turns it on and off and stops and starts it. Hooks onto the arm post, I guess you'd call it. Now, I think you may have seen when I pull this apart, there is a little indent that I've put there and one here. So that's how he lines up. There's also a little nylon bush there that actually runs inside of here. There's very little grease in this thing. This is, yeah, there's just not a lot to it. Now, this one, he will push down to there, and by the look of the photo, just a little bit lower than that, so that would be around about right. That's just enough to clear under there. Now, I've just got to line those 2 marks up like that, screw him up, and that's our next piece in. Let's put our idler on. Now, on the bottom of him, there was a brass washer. Now, we're going to put our idler on. We're also going to put a little bit of oil on this fella. Not grease on these, just a little bit of oil, and just run it around there. A little bit around the bottom. And this is also a porous bearing. And look at that. I think that should run pretty well. Now, we have a fibre washer on top and a circlip. Fairly standard arrangement. There we go. Right, now I will get the motor assembly, and let's put the motor in here. Now the motor goes through here obviously, and on these 3 posts there, and this motor can only go in one way, guys. Now, as you saw, we've cleaned up the pulley. That's looking a little bit nicer than what it was. 2 on the back here. Push him on. And on this we had washers and nuts. So here's our washers, little brass washers, and our nuts. We're getting very close to having a turntable ready to put in his case. Now this one has got an earth strap from the case across onto our mounting post. I didn't take it off, so we don't need to do anything with that. Now, our 2 wires, our 2 red wires, go up through here. And hook onto our switch. So now I can remove the cover and put those on. Righto guys, well I've assembled probably pretty much all that I can without putting it back on the plinth. Now I'm going to leave the plinth as is, even though it's it's not all the best in some places, but this is I thought this was a felt type, and yes, it feels like it, but it's actually flocking. So it's been sprayed on there, and I do have flocking here. I've done it before. You've probably seen videos of me do that before, but no, I'm not going to do this one. I'm going to leave this original. This is how it was, and I'd like to just leave it as it was. It's got to have some character about it, this thing. So I'm not going to renew the flocking, nor spoil it with some other substance, or I don't know. You could put felt there, but it would just look out of place. Okay, so I'm going to put this back in, put the screws back in, and put this on the stand, and then we can put the table on it, the turntable or the platter, and see what is this thing going to go. We've got the arm to put on yet, so yeah, we'll put all this together, and then we'll come back and we'll check our speed and see what this is like. Hopefully this is within 1 or 2 RPM at 78, as long as I get sort of plus or minus more or less 1 revolution. So a 76 or a 79 would be sort of okay. Got him all set up. We've got to get this arm on. Audio down in through there, and of course this only goes on one way, and I will need my little Allen key to go there, and the spring, well, it goes from this fella here up to there, and there is no adjustments. That's the weight, and that's it. So yeah, okay. There's no fouling of our audio cable, our pickup cable, which is good, and all that is working. It turns on and off, which is good. We're going to need to put the armrest in there yet, but now I'll put this spring in here so that this arm doesn't weigh a kilo on the record. Okay, slip him in there, and I think we got him. Oh, yep, I think we got him. Right. Now, we'll just take our little tab around, put him around to the side so he holds our audio cable in. Right, there we go. Now guys, I want your opinions on this, because when I took this apart, we have a little, well, a washer type arrangement in the bottom here. You probably saw me cleaning this out. That's all there is there, and on the platter it just rides on this. Now there's no ball bearings, there's no thrust bearing or anything in that. Is that normal that you know of? Of course there's not a lot of guys out there that know about these, so Yeah. Just wondering, is it normal? Is it not? It probably is. Anyway, we'll put a drop of oil down the shaft here and some oil around the bottom. Okay. Put him on. It certainly runs nice. Yeah, so maybe that's the way it is. Circlip. There we go. That's running nicely. Well guys, it's time for a bit of power. I'll go and get my special cord. Now under here I want to make sure nothing's touching. There's our audio cable, it's out to the side. Here's our 240 and he's out to the side there. Okay, so let's hook some power and we'll do, first of all, we'll see if it works, and secondly, we'll check the speed. We shall hook our cable up. Once again, if you're doing this, you're doing it at your own risk, and if you want to tape them to the bench, that's fine. It's probably a good measure actually. I'm not doing it at the moment. We're through a dim bulb with, well, the Verax on 250. We're seeing if this is going to go. Okay, it's turned on. It's plugged in. Okay, we're on dim. We're on, I'll go number 2 lamp, and hopefully nothing serious happens there. I'll just take you around a bit there. So we're on this lamp here. And turn him on. Okay. Now, we should be able to click the arm back. And look at that. We're going. And we should be able to... Whoa! Auto turn off. On. Off. Very good. Okay, I'm going to set up my phone on there and see what our speed is. Guys, it's looking pretty good so far. Okay, I'm just centering some masking tape. That'll do, just to set the phone on. Let's see here. We'll go audio and we'll go... What's it called, guys? RPM. There we go. Right. We'll set him on here. Pretty close to, well, centre. That's about it. We'll hit start. Okay. And let's see what we got. Oh, we're on 80. We're 2 RPM fast. We're on 80. Which is not bad, because once this needle goes on here, that will slow down slightly. Okay, let's have a look at what we've got here. 80 RPM. It's 2% high. Are we going to notice this on a 78? Probably not. This is not... Well, there's not much we can do really with 78. Like, how are we going to? The idler is the exact size. Could go a bit smaller, but well, we sort of can't. Now we're on flutter. Well, there's your figures, which is pretty good. Pretty good. And yeah, it's 2 RPM. That's very, very close. And as I said, the weight of this arm, if we put this back on here, we reset, we start. Now, if we just touch that, there's 78. I'm just touching the table. And I'd say once that needle goes on that record, because that's a heavy needle, I'd say that'll be our 78. Probably not the way it's supposed to be. It's a bit hit and miss, but well, it's pretty close. There she is, guys. It's working. Okay, now I'm going to get it all ready, put it in the case, and I'll come right back. When we're in the case, we'll put a needle in, we'll have a listen to a record. I'll try and find something that's not YouTube friendly with its copyright, and we can have a listen to it. Well, you better not play too much of that. Now, there she is, guys, in all its glory. I hope you've really enjoyed this little trip with this thing. Lots more parts than what I thought to it. Like this is part 4, so hope you've enjoyed the rebuild of the turntable, mainly. What's inside it, what I do with motors, and, well, pickups for the first time. And it works. I've been playing a couple of records here, and it works fine. Plenty of volume. And, yeah, it sounds, well, as a 78 sounds, I suppose. The hinges, I've filed the notch into them, and as you can see, all works lovely. Put it up, and there she is. And it doesn't want to come down, which is a good thing. If that slams down, probably crack these fellas off. Anyway, a big project, and it's finally finished. I'm sure Brian will be very happy with this. It certainly works like a dream. A little bit of a hiccup in the middle of it, as you guys know. My wife, Kimmy, or Mrs. Teco, she's doing really well, actually. She's going very well. So, yeah, second open heart operation in 2 years, bit hard to take. But anyway, she's recovered nicely and just taking it easy. And I think she'll be taking it easy from now on. Okay, guys, if you loved this, watching this, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done already. Hit the bell and you'll be notified when the next video comes up. I'm back in the shed as well as helping Mrs. Teco. So there's plenty of projects coming up. I'll keep them going. If you want to help the channel, super thanks, coffee down there somewhere. Yeah, it's up to you guys. It really helps if you donate little bits of money. Any old rubbishy valve radio chassis or anything you don't want, leave a message down below. Okay, we'll catch us on the next one, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.